Here with reaction, former Trump economic advisor Stephen Moore, former Trump Treasury official Secretary Monica Crowley. Monica, first they said it was transitory. He said in December the worst is over. And, you know, here we are, we get the worst number ever with no sign of relief in sight.
You know, Sean, 9.1% inflation, but hey, no more mean tweets, right? I'd kill for a mean tweet right now to have, you know, $1.50 gas and groceries that I could afford. Look, President Trump, when he handed off this economy, Sean, to President Biden in January of 2021, he gave him the fastest economic recovery from any crisis on record. In 1.5 short years, President Biden and unified Democratic control in Washington have taken that economic recovery and destroyed it. And they've done it deliberately. And of course, the people bearing the brunt of this economic catastrophe the most are the middle class, the working class, and the poor. Those are core Democratic constituencies. Those are the folks that the Democrats say that they champion the most. And yet their policies are crushing those Americans, as well as every American, with no end in sight. This was a deliberate economic strategy, Sean, to try to re-engineer the U.S. economy. That's why they spent, between the Fed and Congress last year, between fiscal and monetary response, the federal government spent nearly $7 trillion last year that we don't have and we can't afford. And then Biden is running around blaming everybody and their mother for this incredible inflationary environment when it's his own fault, and he is not doing anything and will not do anything to alleviate it.
Steve Moore, let me put up on the screen the cover of your new report that has come out, Not Ready for Primetime Players. Majority of Biden appointees have 0 years of business experience, 0. It's put out by you and John Decker for the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. And then I'll put up the executive summary. 62% of Biden appointees who deal with economic policy, regulation, commerce, energy, finance have virtually no experience. Only 1 in 8 has extensive business experience. The average business experience of Biden appointees is only 2.4 years. But this is my favorite. Medium years of business experience is 0. And the vast majority of Biden economic commerce team members are professionals. Now, compare that to the Trump administration that had a whopping average cabinet member had 13 years of experience. Medium years of experience was 8. Quite a difference and quite a different result. When Trump left the White House, it was 1.4%, the CPI. Now it's 9.1%.
Yeah, Sean, this solves the mystery, right, of how the Biden people could screw up the economy so rapidly. I wouldn't have believed, by the way, 14 or 15 months ago that it was possible that we could go from 1.4 to 9.1% inflation so rapidly. And I think this does answer the question. You've got a lot of people in this administration, most of them, Sean, who have no idea about what it means to run a business, how to meet a payroll, anything about logistics. And so you've got people like Buttigieg, who is the transportation secretary. Except guess what, Sean? He doesn't know anything about transportation. And then you have an energy secretary in Jennifer Granholm. Guess what? She doesn't know anything about energy. I mean, I could go on and on with these people. And you do compare that with Trump. And one of the reasons I think that people voted for Trump in 2016 is Americans wanted a businessman who knew how to run something. And we don't have anybody, certainly not Joe Biden, certainly not Kamala Harris, but almost no one in the cabinet has that kind of experience. And I'm going to make one other quick point, Sean. It's because they don't like business. This wasn't by accident. They don't like businessmen and women because they're in an anti-business party, and so they frown upon people who have business experience.
You know, look at this. We have, as Monica, as Steve points out, we have an energy secretary with no experience. We have Pete Buttigieg. What does he know about transportation? We have a health and human services secretary with little business or health care experience, and it goes on and on from there. 42 of the top 68 policymakers have virtually no business experience at all. So, you know, why would we expect any result other than they just hold to their rigid ideology, their indoctrination, their brainwashing into climate alarmism? I mean, they don't have any point of reference based on this.
No, nor do they want one. I mean, these people are pure neo-Marxist ideologues, Sean and Steve. So stop looking for a logical reason for why they're doing what they're doing. They've got a reason. This is the plan. The plan is to re-engineer the U.S. economy into a more collectivist kind of model. You know, don't forget that Joe Biden was Barack Obama's vice president. Barack Obama spent most of his life prior to entering politics as a community organizer. But he did have one little brief window of time when he was in the private sector. And you know how he described that time, guys? He described it as, quote, being behind enemy lines. So you are dealing with true believers who really do want to remake American life and society by re-engineering the U.S. economy. So it's not a coincidence here. The other thing I will say about his cabinet is not only are they true believing neo-Marxists, essentially, but they're also box checking. Right. So, you know, you've got the gay transportation secretary, you have people of color in other positions. But this is the kind of result you get when you get left-wing ideologues who are also box checking. You get this kind of historic catastrophe that we're seeing across the board.
So, Steve, we can only conclude that if they're going to stay married to these policies and expecting a different result would be pretty stupid. And I don't see any propensity at all whatsoever to maybe rethink the policies that have doubled energy prices and resulted in a 41-year high of inflation and record high gas prices, energy prices. So there will be no change under this administration.
Just the opposite. So as we speak, you've got Chuck Schumer, who's the leader of the Senate, negotiating with the White House and with Joe Manchin, who had been a hero, but now he's negotiating with Schumer to do a new version of the Build Back Better bill. You know what that is, Sean? That's $600 billion of new taxes on small businesses, $300 billion of new green energy subsidies. All we're doing is spending money on green energy. It has new regulations on our drug industry, and it'll increase government spending and government taxes by another $1 trillion. You know what that is, Sean? That's pouring kerosene on a forest fire.
Gee, I'm sure that makes every American household happy tonight. Anyway. Steve Moore, thank you. Monica, always great to see you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.